Good morning, gardening friends. I'm Lisa Ann Spencer. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Today is the end of the month garden collaboration that is hosted by Victoria over at Home Educating the Mad Lads and Maria at the Richardson Simple Living. It's end of October. Today's actually October 31st. And here I am at the last minute. So hopefully I'll get this edited and posted very soon. That's my intention. And October is the last month of the collaboration. It began in April, runs through October, and here we are at the end of the season already. So do be sure to check out the 2 channels of our hostesses that are listed below. They have their garden videos up already. And then if you have a garden, think about joining us next year. So each month I suggested that we answer a question that might help the viewers get to know us a little better. And I forgot the question last month. I think Victoria did too, so that made me feel a little bit better. But it was what's your favorite flower? So I did answer that in the comments last month when Maria asked. But zinnia is my all-time favorite, but like Victoria, all flowers. I love all flowers, and but I can't do without zinnias. I have to plant those every year. The garden year wouldn't be complete without zinnias. All right, so there's not a lot happening in the garden right now. We'll take a look around, and when we get back, I'll answer this month's question. I was sitting here on my swing, and you can probably hear the wind. I don't know how well my microphone is doing at blocking the wind. I've already had to take some of my plants in and out the garage. It's very convenient there to just put them in when it freezes. And I have a little heater inside. I called it a garage, but it's my barn where I can keep it at least above freezing and overwinter my plants. Oh, I see I left the water on this morning. See that? Drip, drip, drip. I'm going to turn this off. I'll have to turn it off from the inside. I did dig up some irises that were planted in a really terrible place in the middle of the yard. So I think they're going to do well here because they love to be wet, and it stays wet because of the hose always dripping. And then here's the others, and look, there's even one that is trying to bloom. So I will overwinter those and then figure out where I want them to be next year. My tomatoes are dead. This is celery here that grew from some seeds that dropped from a plant I grew last year. There's a couple of little nasturtiums hanging in there. I've got herbs back here. That's a beautiful sage plant right there, and I've been harvesting off of it every week and dehydrating. This is an oregano down here, and it tastes terrible. So I'm going to dig that out and try to replace it with a better one. I've got some parsley here, and here again is more celery. So I'm going to try to overwinter those and then sort them in the spring if they make it and plant them in my garden. This is my baby strawberries where I let them reproduce and catch them to expand my strawberry bed every year. Oh, and this bucket, these are the black raspberries that were growing also in a terrible place out in the yard. So I dug them up. I've put them in mulch to keep them damp. I'll try to overwinter them. Look, here's a little sprout right here. So I think that they'll live, and then I can add them to my raspberry garden next spring. So here's my big veggie garden. You can see most of my flowers are dead. We've had 2 frosts, and there's still a few hanging in there. This row is winter radishes. I did start to harvest them. Let me just go ahead and grab one. They're big and beautiful. They're pink on the inside, They come in a couple of different colors. They just have some variety. There's a pinkish reddish one. I shred those and put Italian dressing on them, and they make a wonderful salad, especially in the cold winter months when there's nothing else. I've got a little bit of red Russian kale. This one is looking really beautiful. I sowed spinach here and there, and you can see some coming up. It didn't do great here. I'm not sure, something with the soil. This is a couple of little broccolis that aren't going to do anything, but look here, the spinach did wonderful. So here and then down here on the end, the spinach is looking really nice. It's got lots of weeds growing in between. Go ahead and pull that up. There's lots of those. I hate this weed. I don't know what it's called, but it grows everywhere out here. And then there's some henbit also growing. But anyway, that spinach looks fabulous. Here is some romaine lettuce, looking really good. Here's a Brussels sprout, actually. You can see little sprouts on them, but I don't think they'll have time to make before it gets really cold. The red Russian kale, looking very good. This is cauliflower. I don't think it will do anything. I had to delay my fall planting because it was so hot and dry. So it's just they're not going to have time to produce. Here's a few carrots. My daughter comes out here and harvests the carrots for her bunny. You can see one right there. And then I've got a row right here behind me. Same thing. I'll try to harvest these and freeze some and eat some, but mostly they're for the bunny. Down here on the end, this is a perennial, rhubarb. We did not eat any of it this year, but I thinned it, mulched around it, so hopefully it'll have a good start next spring. Marigolds are hanging in there. And my row of cabbages is gorgeous. You see this one has started to split because it was so dry. And I ran the sprinkler yesterday and I figured several of them would probably split. I have harvested a couple and made sauerkraut. Look at the basil. The tops are dead from the frost, but underneath there's still some green. So we do still come out and harvest fresh for cooking. And I've been drying tons. So besides weeds, this is my Swiss chard. Looks really, really good. We've been eating lots of Swiss chard quiches. That's our favorite way to enjoy it. More red Russian kale. And here's some parsley, both the flat leaf kind and the curly. And again, I just dehydrate those, use them. Now this is mostly weeds. Again, I see spinach. The spinach just did not germinate very well. There's wild sunflowers everywhere where the sunflowers drop their seeds. And then here's a bed of romaine that I sowed very thickly, but we've been harvesting off of that and eating. And then here's a mesclun mixed salad mix. So we'll have that until a hard freeze comes. So now along the fence here was my cowpeas, which I pulled them all out and then I sowed sweet peas. But this pack here that I sowed, 2 germinated. And then the pack that I sowed down here did pretty good. In fact, I've already eaten. It's snow peas. That I didn't know. I thought it was snap peas. So, maybe it's a good idea for me just to try to grow snow peas in the fall. Look how beautiful that bloom is, so pink. So again, I don't know if these will have time to make really anything, but they're pretty. You can eat the vines, but I'm not going to eat pea vines. This was my row of okra. I cut it back except for those down there. This is my seed saving stock. These I'll leave until they dry completely. They are giant. This is a cross between Cowhorn and Red Wonder. So I will grow those again next year because they did super well. These down here were just the Red Wonder, and they didn't do great. I mean, they produced, but I cut them off and they did sprout, and they did even make a second crop, but the weather just, see, like there's one got left out here. The weather was just too wonky. So this spot right here where my tomatoes were, we've tilled and I've sown a ground cover of wheat and clover. So that is germinating. I see little germinating wheat. I try to save my little eggplant, just because every now and then I come out here and the weather's been like in the 70s again, and it'll make a few little ones. And I saved a few of my peppers, but they don't really appear to be doing much. This one's got a couple on it. And then this little poor eggplant down here. So see, you can cut that up and toss it in a pasta or, sauce. My perennial flower bed, I mulched it just yesterday. My swamp hibiscus, it has bloomed a few times and hopefully is making some seeds that I can harvest. There was an allium here, hoping it'll come back in the spring. This is Daisy. I've got some blue spice basil. It'll drop seeds. I just transplanted that over here. Something died, I don't remember what. Here's a daisy that I'm going to transplant here. I've got a few little, salvia is the green. Of course, the marigolds. Cleome was over here. I cut it back, and I think that's some parsley there. And then my dahlia, it has performed so beautifully. Oh, look at the bee. Oh, hi, bumblebee. I have taken many cut flowers off of this single planting of dahlia. I'm gonna hate to see it go, but it should be back next year. There's a cayenne pepper. I'm trying to save seeds from this. My herbs of thyme, which I use every week, and then this is spearmint. My daughter loves to make a drink with this, so she keeps it harvested. So there's that. Take a little look from this direction. Okay, so let's walk up. Here is where my watermelons and the big row of marigolds was. And I harvested the last of the watermelons probably a month ago. And honestly, I put them in my refrigerator and they are still good. We eat one every few days. Now this big green swath, that's where my pumpkins were, but the deer ate them all. So I tilled and planted a ground cover long ago. So there is grass in there, but there's also brassicas and peas and clover. So then here was where the watermelons were pulled out, and same thing. I sowed a ground cover mix, and I do see it sprouting here and there. This is the ground cover. What was planted here? I don't think anything was planted here, so I just did the ground cover. And here's where the marigolds were. And again, sown in a ground cover. I did plant a couple of trees. I think I mentioned that last time because that's when Hurricane Helene was coming. And I staked them because I was afraid they were going to get blown over. So I've got 3 apples, and then I planted a peach that was growing in my compost and a pawpaw tree that I raised from seed. So whether these will make it or not, I don't know. They don't look great, but they've been alive in the pot for a couple of years, so really hoping that they will. See all the chickens gathering? They're like, you have something for us, but I don't. So the chickens will be in this paddock until December. And the plan is that we'll fence this area in. That'll be, what, a month from now? It'll probably be a little longer than that. We have to get it fenced. But the plan is for them to go over there, and then I'll get over here hopefully on a warm day in the fall and winter and till the garden space and sow it in some ground cover too, like some winter rye or something. You see the raspberries are all pretty much gone to sleep. I'll come in, hello loudmouth, I'll come in late fall, early winter maybe, and trim those down. Hey buddy, we have two roosters. The black one, I can't remember what kind he is, but this rooster hates him and chases him and pursues him to no end. He's like, I will not tolerate. So they're going to get in a crowing contest. I've got my gourds. These are almost cured. I'm just going to leave them. If it freezes, I'll come cut them off. But I'm just going to let them vine dry as long as possible. There's one, two. There's another one. Anyway, that's not, too exciting, but it did work as an experiment, so I'm glad I can plant. Oh, there's one. I'm glad I can plant gourds on the back side here, and the deer will leave them alone. And here is my little muscadine that I planted, and we'll see come spring, unless the deer eat it over winter. It is really a beautiful day. It's just started sprinkling this morning. This is the first rain that we've had since Helene, so ever how many days that was. It's been almost a month. It's been bone dry, dusty. So if you look through there, you can see my green garden. We're gonna go around and take a look at it. I guess I'll stop by my barn here, number one, and turn the water off. My barn is a mess. I turn the water off right over here. And I had to do some rearranging. Oh, it's a mess. It's just, oh, there's a bird in here. Poor little baby. I guess I'll open the overhead so she can get out. I got a refrigerator. It's the one that was in our house because we got a bigger one for our kitchen, a used one. So far so good. And I started insulating here, as you can see, and I'm going to wainscot it and put paneling up top, and this is where my plant stand goes, so that in January I can start plants for my garden. And then eventually I'm going to insulate and put a nice wall. We did get a window, so it's great. In my barn. So hopefully by next year, garden collaboration, that will be done. I mean, I'm not counting on it, but it would be nice. Okay, so let's go to the coal yard. This little lock is so tricksy. Oh, it came right open. Nice. All right. So in this first bed, I had sown some old rutabaga seeds and they did not come up. So I planted garlic. And if you look really close, you can see the garlic coming up. There's several of them, thank goodness. So I have a whole row of garlic. Before the freeze, I will come and dump a bunch of leaf mulch on top of it. This row is, again, it's spinach and chard. And so there's a few, for the most part, it didn't do very well. So I'm gonna weed it one more time and, maybe get to harvest a little bit. This is mustard greens. I've already harvested once here. I have a little row of collard greens. It's supposed to be 2 rows, but 1 row, I guess the seeds were not viable. So anyway, I've thinned those out and actually eaten some already, and they're super good. Here's my turnips. Big, nice row of turnips. A couple of different varieties. A scarlet turnip, and then the typical purple top white globe. And we eat the greens and the roots. And then here, I just planted another row of garlic yesterday, day before. And I still have a few empty rows like here. And then there's an empty row in front of that one right there. And then I could actually plant more here, but I don't think I will. I think I'm done planting. This is another row of purple top white globe turnips. Looking very good. This is called bird mustard, and it is very small, and it has not done as well as the other mustard. But I have thinned it and eaten it, and I mean, it tastes delicious. And like I said, we'll have greens for a good long while. I'll even bring some row covers out here and cover some of them up, so I can probably harvest through Christmas and maybe beyond. So this is a collard. It's called Old Timey Blue, heirloom variety, of course, because that is what I try to focus on growing. They're very small. The color is so pretty. I don't know if it shows up, but I went through and I thinned and kind of weeded around them to give them a better fighting chance of growing. I watered them, and if we get, enough rain, maybe we'll get some. Alrighty. Hello, chickens. This bed right here was where my corn and my beans and cucumbers and cantaloupe were. You can still see the rows. Like I said, after I move them, I'm going to get in there and till that area up. All right, let's go have a chit chat. I'm going to try not to swing so the camera is not swaying back and forth. I did not want to bring my stand out here. I just wanted to hurry and try to get this video done before the rain and before October is over with. So the question for October is, what is your favorite season? For me, hands down, fall. I was born in the fall. I love everything about the fall. I love the colors of the leaves. I love the fact that everything is slowing down and gives me hope of, slowing down and resting. The blue sky, the smells of a wood stove. We've already had 2 fires in our wood stove on the really cold nights, and that is just my favorite. I love that. Of course, I love every season. There's something to love about every season. Summer, I really hate the heat and humidity, but I love the fact that it makes my veggies grow. So there's always something that you can find about each season to love. So before I go, I wanted to tell you one of the things that's kept me busy for a while is a book that I've written. It's called Spend Thanksgiving with the Apostle Paul, Romans through Philemon in 30 days. This is meant as a devotional, if you want to call it that, though I really dislike that word. It is a Bible study on the word thanks in Apostle Paul's letters. Every form of the word thanks, thanksgiving, thankful, unthankful, etc. And it's in 30 easy lessons, daily lessons, to be covered really in the month of November for 30 days of Thanksgiving. So this is available on Kindle for $5, or you can order it in paperback for $7. It's not too late to order it, and of course you don't have to do it in November. You can do it anytime, but I am recommending this, and I'll put a link in the description box below for anybody who's interested in still picking that up. I have a Facebook page, same thing, Lisa Ann Spencer, and I'm going to do a little teaser every day, at least that's my plan for 30 days of Thanksgiving beginning tomorrow, where I will show you the first paragraph in the book, And if you find it interesting, then the link will be there for you to order it if you would like. All right, gardening friends, this is it. The collaboration is over, but I may come back at the end of November and do a brief garden update if there's anything. Like, it may snow by then. I don't expect it to, but you know, just a brief walk around to see how the greens are doing and you know what's happening in the garden. So be sure to come back and check it out. I'll see you next year otherwise.